In the top stories, 3 young men remanded on a charge of shooting a police officer. Former Senator Ivan Lynton is laid to rest, and Carlos Brathwaite stars for West Indies on a rain-shortened day. Welcome to Nation News for Monday, January 4th, 2016. I'm Natasha Beckles. 3 St. Michael men have been remanded to prison in connection with last Wednesday's drug seizure and shooting of a police officer. They are 19-year-old Shakir Deshaun Worrell of Bristol Road, Cave Hill, 18-year-old Javon Jerome Joseph, and 20-year-old Shem Dario Jackman, both of Wellgap, Cave Hill. When they appeared in the District A Criminal Court No. 2 on Monday, they were not required to plead to 18 charges, including endangering life and firearm and drug possession. They will return to court on February 1st. Police were carrying out a drug eradication exercise in Story Gap, Station Hill, St. Michael when they were met with gunfire. They discovered more than 5,000 cannabis plants in the raid. Former Barbados Labour Party Senator Ivan Lynton was laid to rest on Monday at the Coral Ridge Memorial Gardens. Mr. Linton, who was blind, was a popular contributor on the island's call-in programs, where he was known as The Economist. Dennis Johnson of Starcom Network described him as a polished contributor, one who was articulate and forthright. Former Prime Minister Owen Arthur, who appointed Mr. Linton to the Senate, said it was not a token gesture to persons with disabilities, but a recognition of Mr. Linton's true worth as an orator. His brother, Erskine Thompson, spoke of Mr. Linton's achievements.
And an insatiable desire to share his thoughts and ideas, not inhibited by impaired vision. He is among that generation of Barbadians who, given the opportunity in their formative years, will have exploited to the fullest the academic potential for outstanding intellectual achievement. However, such opportunities as presented themselves in his later life found fertile ground in his passion for politics and allowed him to share his ideas and thoughts on radio, television, the Senate of Barbados, and wider councils with the Constitution Review Commission.
3 days after being involved in an accident with a motorcycle, 32-year-old Keisha Young of Halls Village, St. James, succumbed to her injuries. The sister of former cricketer Franklin Stevenson was involved in a collision on December 28th in Trent. She received head and facial injuries and collapsed at home 2 days after being released from the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Her niece, Katrina Stevenson, said Keisha was loving and giving.
She loved going out, visiting friends. You could always find Keisha on the street. She was always walking, going to see someone, really loving and giving. She didn't have much, but she always had something to give.
Keisha was the mother of a 4-year-old boy, Caden. Rihanna and Peter Ram took home some of the most coveted awards when the Barbados Music Awards came off on Sunday night. Rihanna won Song of the Year, Female Entertainer of the Year, and Pop Rock Group of the Year for 4 or 5 seconds, her collaboration with Kanye West and Paul McCartney. Meanwhile, Ram won Male Entertainer of the Year and the Dedication Award. Minister of Culture Stephen Lashley says no decision has been made on whether Calypsonians will sing only one song in the annual Pickety Crop competition. Some entertainers have expressed dissatisfaction with the idea, but Mr. Lashley told Nation News it's just a suggestion.
What has happened, I think the National Culture Foundation has put out, to the public something that has been brought to them by stakeholders. And I think they will have to gauge what the feedback has been. But there's no decision that the National Culture Foundation have taken to have one song. And I think that is not the thing at all. We have always remained very open to different avenues, different ideas. And that idea was put on the table, but there is no decision that has been made. And I believe that at the end of the day, what the National Culture Foundation will do is to make a decision that is in concert with the stakeholders. So if the stakeholders don't want to have one song, then we go back to the status quo.
Managing Director of Project Recycle Limited, Anderson Sherry, is dismissing the claim that he is operating an illegal dump at Lear St. Michael. He told Nation News the quarry is actually being used as a waste recycling plant. Mr. Sherry said he was separating materials like paper, plastic and glass which would otherwise end up in a landfill and then shipping them overseas. He said he was hoping to get duty-free concessions to bring in necessary equipment.
Right now, we are not getting 1 cent from government. We are not even getting any help. I'm asking to help for duty-free to bring in all of my grinders. And up to now, I'm not even getting a duty-free concession. All we ask is, look, give us duty-free so we could grind that waste that's there. Help me to grind that waste and divert it from the landfills.
In sport, Carlos Brathwaite recorded his second half-century in as many tests as West Indies continue their tour of Australia. Brathwaite scored 69 off 71 balls to follow up his 59 in the second test match. He struck an entertaining 7 fours and 4 sixes before rain interrupted play with West Indies on 248 for 7. And finally, twins in San Diego are getting some attention because though born just minutes apart, one was born in 2015 and the other in 2016. Jalen Valencia was born on New Year's Eve at 11:59 p.m. and her twin brother Louis Valencia arrived at 12:01 a.m. on New Year's Day. The babies were due at the end of January, but doctors called the mother in because one was in a breech position. The father called it a New Year's blessing to have 2 healthy children. And that's Nation News for Monday. For more news, log on to nationnews.com as well as YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Remember to pick up your Daily Nation on Tuesday or subscribe to our e-paper. Thank you so much for joining us.